All right, so here we are. I'm reacting to fan fiction that I wrote in 2003 when I was a baby 15-year-old. This is Harry Potter fan fiction, naturally, and it's one of the very first things that I ever wrote. This story is called Harry Potter and the Curse of the G Word, G Word being a word for certain traveling folk, which is appropriate because this is chapter 2, part 2, and as we open Remus, they're at a celebration sort of get together thing, and Remus is discussing a festival that they're all going to be going to, except Remus can't go for some reason. Well, I guess it's going to be full moon on the night that they're all going, and but he wouldn't be able to go anyway because the traveling folk do not really like werewolves, and it has something to do with the fact that traveling folk fell in love with the centaurs that lived in the woods. So this is a conversation that Harry is having with Remus. Centaurs? When a centaur falls in love with a traveling person, he will forsake his entire face and become human. That's certainly. I don't think it's his face. I think. Okay, it took me a second. He will forsake it. I think I meant to say race, but I don't think it's his face that the centaur's getting rid of if he's becoming human. I think it's something else the centaur's getting rid of. However, the moon and stars' power remain in their blood, and that way not that word. Most traveling folk have some bit of the powers of the moon in their blood, a fact which causes me to be violent, I am afraid, and them to hate me. He shook his head. It was a traveling folk, however, who invented the potion I take. I have Erica of the Roshani clan to be thankful for. Harry shook his head. This was an interesting fact. I'm not sure what makes this interesting at all. This sounds like Remus forgot that he was no longer a teacher at Hogwarts, and he is conducting a lesson when he really is supposed to just be hanging out at the Weasleys. However, since the rest of the Weasleys didn't look astonished at all, he supposed it was simply his absence of knowledge of much of the wizard world at work. So, he finally asked, what goes on at this festival? It took Harry a while to get around to asking this. Everything, Ron grinned. Quidditch matches, food, exhibits, a real zoo with magical creatures. Jokes, George said solemnly. Many, many jokes. And I hear that here we go. All right. And I hear that this year Corey Johnson is going to be giving a concert. Ron said dreamily. The Corey Johnson. Who is that? Harry said simply. Ron goggled. You, Corey Johnson. She's all the rage right now. Our age. Fantastic. Really gorgeous. He fancies her. Fred grinned a lot. I do not. I admire her talent. Like Hermione admired Gilderoy Lockhart. Everybody snorted at the mention of the infamous bungler. Well, I guess we will have to see this then, he smiled happily. When do we leave? 8 sharp, Friday morning. Don't be late, Mr. Weasley grinned. I wouldn't miss it for all the world, said Harry simply. Alright, so Corey Johnson. This is 2003, and she is she's, as I just said, she's going to be giving a concert. She's basically the Hannah Montana, Britney Spears, teenage pop star of the wizarding world. So just hold on to your horses. Yeah, it's something right there. Oh boy, I mean, that's where, I mean, come on, Hannah Montana of the Wizarding world. That's just, I mean, hit me, baby, one more time at Hogwarts. Come on now. Kind of want to see that. Anyway, let's move on. Harry woke Friday morning with a heavy sense of anticipation in his chest, though he could not recall why. Then suddenly he remembered the Starlight Festival and his birthday. He was 15, just like baby Meg. Ron snored loudly in the bed opposite Harry. He glanced around. Everything was almost exactly as it had always been. With his glasses off, everything was a bright orange blur. He yawned as he slipped them on. The blurs formed into posters of the Chudley Cannons, Ron's favorite Quidditch team. He padded out of bed, thankful for a dreamless sleep. Since coming to the Burrow, he had only had one nightmare about Cedric Diggory, but it was still too much for Harry to think about. It was still too early. He opened his trunk and pulled out a black t-shirt and dark jeans. He had bought these himself, tired of having Dudley's old clothes shrunk to fit him once he returned to his school. Mr. Weasley had used a spell to summon his things from the Dursleys that Harry had arrived by a surprise port key. Yes, we've established that. Ron stirred, blinking his eyes open. What time is it? He muttered. Harry glanced at the orange Chudley Cannon's clock. 7. Reckon we should get breakfast before we go. Ron grinned as he rubbed his eyes. I forget you've never had a Weasley birthday breakfast. Well, you'll see soon. Harry could only guess what this meant. That's another little mistake. It's not too egregious, but just, having to add those little, Harry could only guess what this meant sort of thing after every little line. Not necessary. Just a little early writer's mistake. I was decent for a 15-year-old. I mean, apart from the writing a Hannah Montana, Britney Spears, wizard chick into my story. He waited until Ron was dressed before he went down. Pleasantly, he noticed that he didn't have to look as far up as he once had to see into his friend's face. He had grown several inches over the last year. When they reached the living room, it was empty. Harry, used to the usual morning clamor, was flabbergasted. Where is everybody? Wait, Ron stated, marching triumphantly to the kitchen. Go on in. Harry stared at him strangely before slowly opening the door. Happy birthday, Harry. The Weasley clan was standing in the middle of the room. The streamers of all colors fell from the ceiling, and on the table were all of Harry's favorite foods. In the morning? All of Harry's favorite foods? It sure is some breakfast. Is this all from me? No, it's to celebrate Ron's not becoming a prefect. George, sorry, Mum. He smirked at Harry, who grinned back. Harry, dear, have a seat, have a seat. We have all your presents right here. Breakfast first, though. She pressed him into a seat and fixed him a large plate. To his surprise, she had even fixed a cake, replete with a miniature seeker who flitted about after a tiny golden snitch. That's a cute idea. Thank you, really, he said, still overwhelmed. I know, dear. She saw that her ears were slightly red. We'll eat up. We're leaving at 8. He downed his It's a lot of food and a lot of stuff for them leaving at 8. He downed his meal, enjoying every bite. Finally, when he could eat no more, he sat back and sighed. That was wonderful, Mrs. Weasley. I'm stuffed. She beamed brightly. Oh, Harry, you're welcome. And, she added with a kind smile, why not? You are family. Harry reddened when he saw everybody nod in approval. That's sweet, but not necessary. Presents, Fred cheered, shoving a large pile of brightly colored packages at Harry. They are all for me, he murmured. There were at least a dozen packages there, all wrapped in golds, emeralds, blues, and any other color under the rainbow. Okay, that was kind of pointless. It would be more interesting if they were all one shade, like all Gryffindor colors, considering that these are all Gryffindors. He picked up a rather large one addressed from Hermione. He ripped off a note and read, Harry, Sorry I couldn't make it to your celebration. I'm so proud we're prefects together. I'm here with Victor. He's just come in from Bulgaria. I'm showing him around London a bit. Tell me when you are Ron and Ron are going to Diagon Alley. Victor will be gone by then, and I want to see you, Hermione. I wonder why it is I did not want Hermione here. If there was something going on and I wasn't much of a Hermione fan, or I was trying to keep Hermione out of the picture because I was shipping Harry with this Corey pop star chick that I had created or something. I don't know. Whatever the reason, I was shoving Hermione off to the side and keeping her out of the picture because I was doing everything I can to make sure she was not here. Anyway, he ripped open the paper, revealing a large book. Ron moaned. She gave you a book, what a surprise. Harry chuckled, pushing it at him. Read the title. Ron picked it up and read it aloud. 2001 Common Rules for the Uncommon Rule Breaker. Ron grinned widely. Guess she figured we ought to do things right so long as she knows we're going to do it anyway. That's an amusing idea, but I'm not sure what that's supposed to mean. 2001 Common Rules for the Uncommon Rule Breaker. And that's a lot of rules, too. Anyway, Hagrid's gift was large and knobby, and the group, who were all well acquainted with the things Hagrid thought of as cute, scooted back as Harry tentatively opened it up. However, he had no reason to be afraid. It was a pair of gold gauntlets with bright rubies. The letter simply said that they had been found at a Muggle antique shop and that they would be useful for the next year. A terrifying thought. Maybe he finally got those dragons, Ron moaned. Why are you moaning, Rod? If he got dragons, that would be badass. They're not so bad, Harry said thoughtfully. I just wouldn't want to deal with one without my firebolt. Ron raised a brow. All right, all right. He got a new wizard chess set from Ron, including a book on strategy, which surprised him. Even more surprising was a present from Fleur Delacour. A thank you for rescuing her sister. It was a small faux glass on a long, thin chain. Okay. He got a pair of handsome black dragonhide boots from Charlie Weasley, and Bill sent him a curse deflector, a pendant set with a large black stone. He put it on quickly. The note sent with it instructed him to wear it at all times. He wasn't going to complain. Even Mrs. Figg seemed to be in the spirit of giving and sent Harry a book on advanced level shield and defense charms. Oh my god, she is 100% the DA teacher. Jesus cribbity. Finally, only 2 gifts were left, and Harry recognized these. They had been left by Remus, who had gone home 2 days earlier. One had Remus's name and his handsome signature, and the other had Sirius's loopy writing. It said Snuffles. Remus's gift was incredible. Harry hadn't known what to expect from his ex-professor. Another book, maybe, but not. A firebolt booster package. Fred gazed at it with reverent awe. Extra braking capacity, speed booster, even a 360-degree turning mechanism. Harry stared at it. That's a clever, not clever, but it's an amusing little thing to add, but you're on a frickin' broomstick. You can already turn 360 degrees. Little baby Meg wasn't thinking things through. Yeah. I'll help you install it tomorrow. He smiled, and Harry turned to Sirius's package. Who's Snuffles? Ginny asked innocently. Ron and his mother went red. A good friend. He quickly opened it, and his heart fell. A wooden box opened at his touch. The names James E. Potter was scratched onto the surface. Silence fell as everybody watched. It was full of things, James. Harry Potter's supposed for... I can't talk. It was full of things Harry supposed were from his dad's school days. A black leather notebook bore uneven lettering. Quidditch tips and secret plays by James Potter. Harry read out loud. He rifled through the box and found several bags of tricks, slips of paper, and a couple of hasty sketches Harry realized his father must have done. They were of his mother. Again, cute idea, but definitely doesn't seem like a James thing. I don't know. If you were going to throw that in as something that James did, it seems like it would need more, like, grounding. Like, you would need to ground it in the story better. Like, somehow be it a pensive thing or have someone else talk about it. I don't know. But it's not a James enough thing for James to be sketching Lily. He's not an artsy fartsy kind of guy. I mean, he's a jock. We all know James Potter was a jock. So, a prefect's and head boy's name badge were wrapped in plain paper. To his amusement, he found a list labeled enemies with Severus Snape and Lucius Malfoy at the top. Lucius Malfoy is not in the same age range as, I don't think, as them. He got the strong urge to add the name Peter Pettigrew. A letter from Sirius lay at the bottom. Dumbledore took this from your house. He has given them all to me, and I will pass them on to you as the time comes. They were meant for you to get on acceptance at Hogwarts. He gave you the invisibility cloak that used to be in there. It is time you had the rest. Again, cute idea, but I do not think that James would be giving his son little drawings that he did of Lily. I could see James giving Harry a book of Quidditch plays. I could, and stuff like that. But no, he wouldn't be giving him personal items like that. No. Also, it takes away the impact for Sirius to be sending it in the mail. I mean, I know that at the point I was writing this fan fiction, it was when Sirius was in hiding and couldn't really just come and hang out with Harry, but not giving it in person and having him just send it and send a little letter like no. It's a nice it's a nice gesture to connect the two characters, but it 100% takes away the impact when it's just sent via letter and Harry's looking at it like, yeah, cool, some crap that that belonged to my dad, and then you can't have Sirius be like, yeah, your dad used to hang out in the dorms and scribble down these plays and pour over them for hours and come up with new strategies and, or talk about, like, he couldn't draw at all, but he was just so determined to get this drawing of your mom right, or, he made this list of enemies, in his first year, but the only name he could come up with was Severus Snape, stuff like that, it's just so much more interesting than to just have this letter. And I get you, I don't even know why I'm explaining this. I'm sure that you can come up with a million reasons on your own why it's more interesting, but that's just the impression I'm getting. Anyway, back to the story. After a long moment, Mr. Weasley spoke. Well, let's go, then. Right, he followed them to the fireplace. Mr. Weasley handed around an old flower pot. Harry took a pinch of Floo powder. Mr. Weasley went first. Starlight Square, he shouted, and disappeared with a pop. The twins followed, smelling evilly, pockets full of treats. Harry guessed that the WWW was getting a test run. They, too, went. Harry sighed as he stepped towards the fire and sprinkled the Floo powder in. Starlight Square, he shouted. He began spinning in darkness, spinning until, bugger, he had crashed into a large white column. Fred and George smiled maliciously. He looked around as they continued to laugh. It was pleasantly warm. Bright-colored fairies floated back amongst the trees that bore large white blossoms. Ron and his sister and mother arrived. Ron, too, crashed into the pole. Looking around, Harry saw the large sign that stood near the gate a few feet before them. Welcome to Starlight Square. I'm not sure what trick this is that the twins played. It's a little confusing what they actually did, first of all. Second of all, like I kind of said earlier, the twins never really pulled pranks on Harry. You know, they pulled pranks on their brothers. Um, but Harry was kind of off limits for them for the most part. Might have teased him a little bit here and there, but no, they didn't really mess with Harry. Harry was their bro, you know? So, yeah, that one, they weren't really malicious about anything, so. Yeah, and that's, the characterization in this fanfic's a bit off. I was 15, so I get a little bit of a pass. I don't get a pass for the Hannah Montana witch. So anyway, that was chapter 2. That's the end of chapter 2. Here's a little note at the bottom. I said, I haven't gotten many reviews yet, but thanks kindly to my mentor, Jasmine Black, who helped me figure out how screwed up my formatting and spacing was. I think this story is really good, and the upcoming chapter is going to be quite interesting, to say the least. I will have at least one old friend show up. That's cute. Little baby Meg. Jasmine Black was someone older. By older, I mean she was like in her 20s, and I was a little baby 15-year-old. Someone I had met here on Fanfiction who showed me the ropes back in the day. And we went out of touch after a year or two of talking to each other. But anyway, whoever she is out there, thank you for putting up a little baby me back in the day. And thank you for watching this video. I hope you're getting something out of it. I'm kind of enjoying sitting here talking about this. So, bye-bye.